Jagerative, Jamasters. It has been said that Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. Sounds neat, but who understands that? What does it mean to evolve? Well, let's say you're playing a piano. You don't know how to play. You evolve. You start with the scales, play Twinkle Twinkle, start playing some pieces, and maybe eventually you play Beethoven or Mozart. It doesn't matter whether you're a master pianist. What matters is you evolved in your playing of a piano. Same thing happens with sports. I like to use the example of a father trying to teach their son, 11, 12-year-old son, how to field a grounder. And so you hit the ball, and I'm telling you, the child is going to turn their head when that ball bounces. Now the glove's not going to go up. They're just going to turn their head because they're afraid and they feel anxiety. It's just an impulse. It's a natural impulse. I don't want to get hit by the ball, right? So you turn your head away. Well, you're not going to field the ball if you play like that. Over time, maybe the child doesn't think it's going to happen, but it does. You're going to keep your eye on the ball. And when you keep your eye on the ball, you're going to react by pulling your glove up. That is evolving in your ability to play the sport. During the Olympics right now, they're amazing, right? They kind of practice a little bit. I don't know if you know that, right? Even if they won the gold, last time, for the next 4 years, all they do, their entire life, is getting better. So they're evolving. You're evolving in your ability to do something. Well, what does it mean that Earth is a place where souls are sent to evolve? Well, we have to start with the fact is, what's a soul? What does that mean? They throw the word around. It's actually very, very simple. Very simple. If I ask you the question, are you in there? Are you in there? I've never asked anyone that question. They said no. You are in there. You're aware that you're in there? Do you have an in there? What's it like in there? Are there thoughts in there? Anybody have thoughts in there? Are there feelings in there? That's just something more subtle. Has anyone noticed there's energy in there? Chi, Shakti, spirit, energy, call it whatever you want. Have you noticed your energy levels can be different? You're tremendously enthused. You can't even see straight. You're so excited. You're depressed. That's just an energy level, right or wrong. Do you all experience that? Well, I guess you're yogis and yoginis, because that's what it's all about, is your energy level. So you're in there. There are thoughts in there. There are emotions in there. There's energy in there. Do you experience your thoughts? Are you aware you're having a thought? Are you aware you're having an emotion? Who is aware? People don't ask that question. My thoughts are bothering me today. You're focusing on the thoughts. You're not focused on who is experiencing the thoughts. There's someone experiencing the thoughts. Otherwise you wouldn't know they're going on. Have you ever tried to stop your thoughts from being there? Who's in there trying to stop the thoughts? Somebody is. They're doing their thing. And somebody's in there wanting it to be otherwise. Who is aware of the thoughts? Who's aware of the emotions? Have you ever had an emotion that's really troublesome, really painful? How can it be painful? Your body can be painful. There are no nerves in there. But they can be painful, can't they? And they can be really beautiful, can't they? Who is experiencing that? Is it the same you who experiences a painful emotion and a beautiful emotion? You feel fear, you feel love. Is it the same you, or do you have to phone each other? Okay? That is your soul. That is what's meant by soul. I don't care what they've taught you. I don't care what they say. That is your soul. That is the essence. What is soul? It means the kernel, the essence of something. That is your essence. That's who you are. You're not the thoughts. You're the one who's experiencing the thoughts. You'll never get away from the fact that you're in there. I don't care what you're going through. You don't understand. This thing happened and then someone died and thing. How do you know? Let me ask you a better question. Has your heart ever hurt? Has your heart ever hurt? How do you know? How do you know it hurts? You're in there. You're in there. You're in there experiencing a hurt heart. You're in there experiencing an open, loving heart. It's the same you. There is never a moment that you have not been in there. Period. When you were little, you looked in the mirror. Did it look like it looks now? Was it you looking? You're just in there. You're just in there. You're the consciousness, the awareness of being. You're aware of things. You talk about a subject-object. You're the subject. Everything else is an object. Everything else is something else you're aware of. No, not my wife. Yes, she's an object. I'm sorry. To you, she's an object. And your husband and your child, they're objects. They're things you're aware of. You know how I know? Well, where's my child? I can't find him. Well, so you know he's gone, do you? He was there a minute ago. How do you know? He's not there now. How do you know? So I don't care what you're going through. You are in there aware. You're the one that's aware. Period. When you go to sleep at night, do you dream? Do you have dreams? How do you know? No, seriously, stop for a moment. How do you know? You wake up in the morning, oh my God, I had this amazing dream. How do you know? Is it the same you who's saying, I had this amazing dream? And when you say the I, let's do the I had this amazing dream. I'm awake. I had this amazing dream. Now I'm going to tell you about it. I was walking through a cloud. What's the same I? You use the word I both times. Because it's the same you. When you're awake, you're experiencing what's coming in from the outside world. When you're asleep, you're experiencing what your mind is creating, but it's the same you. Doesn't it feel like the same you? I got married and this happened and it was just, all right? I felt like I was dying. It's the same you. That's the soul. That's the essence of your being. What? Not what you're aware of. It keeps changing, doesn't it? Your body doesn't look like it looked years ago, does it? Your thoughts aren't the same as they were when you were 12, but it's the same you having them, same you being aware. That you is the essence of your being. What does that mean, essence of my being? It doesn't change. It's there. It's there all the time. So that's what's meant by soul. And when you talk about earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve, how does that evolve? How did it get de-evolved? What is consciousness? And what does it mean for consciousness to evolve? Okay? So I thought we would discuss that. So you're in there. You don't necessarily like what your thoughts are doing. You don't necessarily like what your emotions are doing, your heart. You don't necessarily like what your body's doing. Or you really like what your thoughts are doing. What you tend to think of as evolution is that which I'm looking at evolves. My thoughts are nicer than they used to be. My thoughts are worse than they used to be. I don't care about me who's seeing them. I care about what I'm looking at. I'm sitting here looking at a model of something. I want it to look nicer. I want it to paint red. I want it to have sparkles. I want it to have more stories. It only has 3 stories. I'm an architect. What I care about is what I'm looking at. What you mean by evolution is that what you're looking at goes through changes that you like, so that your mind is easier to live with. I've learned to handle this. Your heart is the way you want it to be. And everyone is spending their entire life on what they're looking at, having it change. I want to find somebody. I want to go somewhere. You understand that? It's the same you before you found them and after you found them. The same you, no matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you go to the moon, it's you who went. Okay? It's the same consciousness. But what you're aware of is what you're interested in. Because you have found out, you're very smart, that sometimes what you're aware of makes the inside feel good. And sometimes what you're aware of makes the inside feel bad. Have you noticed that? And for most people, that's the only way you know how to change what it feels like inside. By changing the outside. By finding someone who makes you feel loved. By going someplace where you're excited and enthused and get entertained. By seeing a good movie. By doing this, by doing that. By the outside changes. And when it does, some of it is better inside and some of it's not. And so you spend your whole life on the object of consciousness. And most people spend no time on the consciousness itself. On the awareness of consciousness. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just telling you the truth. Okay? So you're just trying to get the outside in a way that it feels better inside. So that when you receive it inside, you're more comfortable. and make sure that the outside doesn't happen in a way so when you receive it inside, you're less comfortable. Not to mention traumatic, terrible. Can it get bad in there? Has anyone had it get so bad in there that it's hard to live with it? Yes or no? So now we're talking. Who's experiencing this? You, but not somehow, I'll just give it to you. The outside, it distracts you. That's the right word. The outside distracts your consciousness so strongly and powerfully that you're only aware of what you're distracted by. You're not aware of what is distracted. If you meditate, you can get to a place where you're not distracted. You're in there and it's just nice in there. But everyone wants to teach you how to meditate. I want to talk about what happens when you come out of meditation. How long does it take before you're distracted? 1 nanosecond. 1 nanosecond. And that nice, quiet place, however you manage to get it, all of a sudden, bam, it's lost in the thoughts, lost in the emotions. What did I forget? Who did this? Who's calling? What's that? Right? So consciousness has the ability of getting distracted. Do you get distracted? But what you mean by distracted is, I was looking over here and I heard a noise, so I got distracted by the noise. You're getting distracted inside. Your thoughts distract you. Have you ever sat there and tried to read a book and realized you went through 3 pages, you don't know a darn thing, in no way, shape, or form did you have any idea what the hell those 3 pages said? You have to go back. Why? Because your thoughts distracted you. You're in there being distracted by the thoughts instead of paying attention to what's there. Okay? This thing of distraction is really important. Consciousness gets distracted by the object of consciousness. Which one? That's up to you. You may get very distracted by a Ferrari driving by. You may be by a Tesla. It depends on where you're at, right? So there's different things because you've had experiences in your life that left impressions in your mind and your heart so that they behave differently when different things happen. You see somebody you never met before, something goes on inside or doesn't go on inside. You see somebody you used to know 20 years ago that you didn't like, something goes on inside. That you did like, something goes on inside. Well, since we all had different experiences, it's totally different inside of every one of us. And don't ever think it's not. Don't you dare think there's a soulmate out there that's the same as you. There is not. Oh boy, you got real quiet. For the soulmate to be the same as you, they had to have gone through the same experiences you did from birth. Psychology says man is the sum of his learned experiences. You're the sum of your learned experiences. That's why you think the way you think. That's why you feel the way you feel. Because you've had different experiences. Fair enough? And you are distracted by those. You're distracted by what your mind says. You're distracted by your emotions. You're distracted by your body. And all of it gets distracted by the outside world because it comes in and distracts the inside. I don't know what to say, but pretty confusing, isn't it? Having fun yet? No, seriously. It's pretty, like, in the new book, I call it a 3-ring circus. The mind, the heart, and the outside world. They're all changing, aren't they? All the time. Not so easy to live in there, is it? You know how I know it's not so easy to live in there? Because every single one of you are spending every single moment of your life trying to manipulate the outside so that it's easier to live inside. You're trying to find the right person. Should I have another child? I don't know. How should I go over here? Should I visit this? Should I do that? What should I wear? Every single thing is, what do I need to do so that the outside, when it comes in, makes me feel better inside. I can tolerate what it's like to live in there because it can get pretty bad, and you know it can get pretty bad, and you don't want it to get pretty bad, do you? You really don't want it to get pretty bad. So you have to control and manipulate your environment so that when it comes in, it's something you're comfortable with. Okay? So that's because your consciousness, your awareness of being, is distracted by what it's looking at. What if you weren't distracted? You'd be enlightened. If you are not distracted by your thoughts, by your emotions, and by the changes in the outside world when they come in, that's called being established in the seat of self. Ever heard those words? Those are sacred words. You're established in the seat of self. You're sitting, it's not a you, because you are sitting, that's like 2 of you, right? There's just consciousness that is aware of being conscious. It's not aware of an object outside. Like a light shines on something, right? But can you get back to the bulb? There's a place from which the light is coming. You don't have to just look at what it's shining on. Where's its source? So your consciousness is in there, And it is projecting, looking, being distracted by outside objects. A great master is not distracted. And how do you mean outside object? Do you understand? You will get to a point where your thoughts are outside of you. That's when you know you're getting somewhere. They're not who you are. They're something you watch. They're like clouds passing by. There's just something you notice. Oh, look what it said now. Okay? And it doesn't pull you down into it. You have thoughts all day that don't pull you down into them. You just kind of, okay? And then all of a sudden, it's like if it's distracting enough, your consciousness gets drawn down into it. So there's a state, we must get that straight, inside every one of you. Right? Some people say, but I'm not capable of reaching the state the great masters are. You are already in the state the great masters are. Look at me. You are already in the state that the great masters are. You're just being distracted from that state. If you weren't being distracted, you'd be seated there. You're not being pulled out of there. Something's pulling you out of your natural seat of consciousness. That's who you are. You are the consciousness. But right now you think you are what you're looking at. I am my body. You are not your body. You're aware of your body. Your consciousness is not your body. It is looking at the body. And it looks at it all the time and it identifies with it, which is really weird. Because some people say if something is the same all the time, you identify with it. It's just you look at it, it's always the same, right? Your body's not the same as it was 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, but you keep identifying with it. You used to be this big, right? Little baby, 4 years old, look in the mirror. You don't look at it now. Why don't you say, oh, I guess I'm not my body? Because I'm looking at it and it keeps changing, and I don't. I know where it looks. So you wake up, you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. You are the one that is aware of your body, you are aware of your thoughts, and you're aware of your emotions. All right? Who are you? Eventually, when we talk about evolution, we are talking about evolution, and a great master, an enlightened being, sits in the seat of consciousness. That's where they are. Why? Do they have to do anything to do that? No, they just don't get pulled out of it. They don't get distracted by it. If I look at that picture over there, and it really enthralls me, and oh my God, look at the eyes and the thing, and I'm just totally focused on it. Did I have to leave this seat to do that? I'm just sitting here. I didn't go anywhere, did I? But my consciousness projected its awareness onto the picture. I'm still seated where I am. If I stop looking at the picture, I guess I got lost. That's what you're doing with your body, with your thoughts, and with your emotions. You're not leaving the seat of consciousness. You're paying attention to something outside of it. The sun doesn't leave outer space to shine on you, does it? It emanates its rays, but it stays right there. It's been there for 4.5 billion years. Nothing changes. It's the same thing with your consciousness. It's seated in the source, in the seat of consciousness. We'll talk about what that is later. But consciousness can be aware of something outside itself. It is aware of it. It gets distracted and pulled down into that. That is your relationship with your thoughts, your emotions, and your body. Just get it straight. You want to grow spiritually, you have to understand that. You are not your body. You are never your body. You will never be your body. Okay? You are not your thoughts. Oh, but I'm this thought, but not that thought. They're all the same. There's thoughts. Here's a thought. I think I love her. No, I don't. It's the same. You who's hearing the thought, that's aware of the thought, is the same being. You have just identified with your thoughts. Have you identified with all of your thoughts? Absolutely not. There's this thing called your self-concept. The thoughts that you have glued together into a mental body, if you will, and said, this is who I am. Like, I never met you, so I'm not you. I have nothing to do with you. We start dating and we get married, or I start saying, you're my wife, you're my husband, you're part of me. No, you're not. That's the most hilarious thing in the world. You're part of me till we get divorced. No, you're not part of me. I don't need to. But you're still part of me, but the part I don't like, right? So you build a concept of yourself. I'm the one who played, I play with you guys. That's what the ego is. It's the collection of thoughts. They're just thoughts. They're thoughts. You have lots of thoughts. You don't pick all your thoughts, make them your ego. But you were Dorothy in Wizard of Oz in the 5th grade, and everybody clapped. You did amazing. Your parents were so proud of you, okay? You're now 55 years old, and you go back to a reunion. Ready? And there's a person in the corner saying, yeah, I was Dorothy in the 5th grade. What happens inside of you? She was not. I was. Right? But if somebody said, I sat in that chair, think twice about it. You took certain experiences that you've had in your life and you held on to them and you glued them together and you said, this is me. I'm the one who played Dorothy. No, you're not. You're a 55-year-old lady going back to a 5th grade reunion. And you're not even that. You're just aware of the thoughts that are saying that. So you're in here and you're just completely lost in what you built inside your mind. That's a really important thing. I love that psychology calls it a self-concept. What is a concept? Something is not real. Something you make up. It's a concept. It is the collection of experiences that you experienced, the consciousness experienced them, and they were strong enough, either pleasurable enough or painful enough. You do both. And you pulled them together and you made a me. I'm the one that likes this and I'm the one that doesn't like that. I'm the one that got married too young and then I got divorced over here. And now I have these children. That's who I am. No, it is not who you are. Those are the experiences you had. You're not the experience you had. You're the one who had them. But you couldn't let them go. You held on to them. So you built this concept of yourself. Please understand that because that's the whole thing. Don't you have a self-concept? If you ask somebody, who are you? You'll sit down and I'll tell you, okay? And you just start describing you're the one that had these experiences and you like this one, you didn't like that one. And I'm the one, I love the color green, that's my color. Pay attention. We're talking about the consciousness. And we're talking about the consciousness pays attention to. And it totally pays attention to the ego. That's what the ego is, who you think you are. You defend it, you argue it, you do everything it wants you to do. You do whatever your thoughts tell you to do. You do whatever your thoughts tell you to do. If you go into a party and you're looking forward to it, and your mind says, oh boy, I can't wait to go to the party. I expect to see so-and-so, and this will be wonderful, so on. And you go to the party, all of a sudden your mind says, nah, I don't like it here. Oh, I don't like this, all right? Because I think George might be here, and I don't want to see George. I want to leave. You leave. That makes me laugh so hard. You do whatever that thought says, don't you? Isn't that amazing? It's just like following the clouds. Oh, look at that cloud going over there. It's just, you're the consciousness, but you can't stay there. Why? Because you're absorbed, you're addicted to what you're distracted by. Why? Because I told you. If it comes in and it makes you feel good in there, then you want that. You have a preference. That's why you have preferences. Because some things make you feel better inside and some things make you feel worse. And you're addicted to what it feels like inside. When you reach a very high state, you're no longer addicted. Ram Dass once said it like this. I'm standing on a bridge watching rapid waters go by. Every once in a while, a spray comes up and it hits me. And I remember I used to be in there. Now I'm aware of there. I'm watching what that's doing. I'm not in those rapids trying not to drown. Okay? That's witness consciousness. This is spirituality. I'm talking to you very deeply. They call it mindfulness, witness consciousness. Krishnamurti, who was one of the first to talk about this kind of stuff, other than the ancient yogis, a Westerner, said objective observation. That's a neat term. What does that mean? I'm not judging it. I'm just aware. Here comes the thought. Here comes the thought. I want to go to the party. I really want to go to the party. All right, we'll go to the party. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Let's leave. I don't want to leave. Toot, 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 toot. Just your little train of thoughts comes flying through for whatever. Okay? Objective observation means you're not involved. You're clear. And so you're watching it. And you're able to sit and have it not pull you into it. Okay? That is spiritual evolution. That right there is exactly what it means that Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. Are you capable of handling the moments that are unfolding in front of you? Are you capable of handling I'll do it that way. Are you capable of handling all the moments that can unfold in front of you without freaking out? The words I'm using lately, better than freaking out, without getting weird. Because you get weird if the moments unfolding in front of you make you feel bad inside, don't you? And you get weird if the moments unfolding in front of you make you feel good inside. You get weird. I need that. I want that. Where's he going? Why is he talking to her? You get weird. Don't you? And you get weird if you don't like it, all right? Are you capable of having the moments unfold in front of you and just having the moments unfold in front of you. Being centered, being clear, being at peace, serenity, right? The Gita says, Krishna tells Arjuna, equanimity is yoga. Equanimity is yoga. Can you be clean and clear as the moments unfold in front of you? It doesn't mean not interacting with them. Of course you're interacting with them. Life is an interactive sport, but you're not reacting to them. You're not interacting with them because you can't handle them. If something unfolds in front of me and I can't handle it, it's bothering me, guess what? I'll interact with it. You can be sure I will, all right? I'll make sure it doesn't happen again, and I'll make sure they're sorry they said it. I'm going to interact in a way that makes me feel better, in a way that helps me be able to handle what happened. That's called a reaction. How's that? And the same thing with something's really nice. Don't go away. I love you so much. I like being with you. You said you're going to go. No, don't go. Come back. I'm reacting. I'm not interacting. I'm reacting. There's nothing good that comes from that. And we do it all the time. Here's how I teach it, right? Something happens. You say, I can't handle that. I can't handle that. Well, then you shouldn't be dealing with it. You're the worst person in the world to deal with it. Like if you can't handle the sight of blood, don't come to my car accident. You're of no use. Do you understand that? But you do it all the time. I can't handle that. So what do? You try to manipulate it so it doesn't happen again. You try to manipulate what you can't handle so that you can handle it. That's not dealing with it. That's dealing with you. So it's not that you don't interact with the world. You do interact with the world. A great being interacts with the world. But they do it from clarity. You know what it looks like when you're not reacting? When you can handle everything that's going on out there? Make that straight. Imagine such a thing. It's unfolding in front of you, and you're fine. You're centered. You're clear. Now what? Why would I interact with it? To help it. Not to have it help you. You don't need help. You're fine. You're at peace. You feel love. You feel clarity. So then it unfolds in front of you, and you serve the moment. You don't manipulate the moment. That's why they say service is the highest thing. When you are okay, now you're evolved. Remember, I keep talking about Earth is the place the souls are sent to evolve. You have now evolved to the point that you can play the piano. You evolved to the point that you can play tennis. You evolve to the point that you can handle the moment in front of you. That's exactly what spiritual evolution is. That's what your evolution is. Can you handle the moment in front of you? Let's say you have a daughter. She's like 12 years old, and nowadays it's probably 8. It gets earlier and earlier, right? And she goes out on her first date. Okay? Right? Can you handle it? I was going to say, can she handle it? I got that wrong. Can you handle it? Eventually you'll learn to handle it. Okay? By the time you have 3 kids, the third one, God, have fun. You hear me? You evolved. You're evolved emotionally to be able to handle the moments that are unfolding in front of you. And I showed you, in the highest state, you can handle every moment that unfolds in front of you without effort. Now to handle it, we do mantras if we're good. All right, we breathe. Take a moment, breathe, just a moment. Okay, now what did you say? Did you really mean that? You don't want to know what was going to go on here. How about it? You just handle it. Somebody who knows how to play the piano, when they sit there playing concerts, right? They're not thinking about doing anything. They're just lost in the music. They're capable of being there with people listening, right? I'm telling you, everything I'm talking about is evolution. Okay? At first you go there and you have to play a recital. Well, you're not that good anyways, right? And now you're not going to be good at all because you're nervous as could be. You can't handle the moment. Anybody ever not be able to handle the moment? Eventually you play some recitals, you do some things, blah, 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 and you handle it. But what if I'm doing the recital and I forget the piece and I mess up completely? Oh, you know, if you're young, and you don't have to be so young, by the way, and you're not evolved enough, you start crying and you get up and you run away and you don't want to do it ever again. You're not evolved enough to handle having made a mistake and having people laugh. That's what evolution means. You have gone through enough experiences to where, it's all that. I've done that before. And by the time you can handle that you might make a mistake, it's not that can you handle make a mistake. Can you handle that people heard you make a mistake? Can you handle that people will think that you made a mistake? Can you handle that you might make a mistake? The answer to all these questions are no, you can't. Can you handle being around a group of friends, you're just talking together, some topic comes up you know a little bit about, but they know more than you do, and you say something and it's stupid. Right? It just turns out you were wrong. You had the wrong conversation, all right? Can you handle that? What do I mean to handle it? When you walk away, you don't think about it. It doesn't bother you for the rest of the day, week, night. You never see the people again. Are you hearing me? That's spiritual evolution. What is Darwinian evolution? You're able to handle your environment. You can adapt to your environment, correct? Isn't that what happens? You're more capable. Survival, those who can handle their environment better. You're the same. It's the same evolution. Can you handle the moments that are unfolding in front of you? And the answer is, of course not. Not even close. I can't even handle thinking about the moments that might unfold in front of me. Worse yet, I can't handle the moments that already unfolded in front of me, even though they're done. Anybody have a problem with some of the things that happened in the past? They're over. I don't understand. Like psychology says you can't handle what mommy did when you were 5. What's going on here? You're not evolved enough. I'm not yelling at you. No, I'm serious. I'm not judging. I want you to understand what evolution is. It's a very simple thing. It's the ability to handle your environment. Your outer environment, your inner environment, whatever. I like this thing about the past. How silly is it that something happened and will never happen again? And you can't handle that it happened so long ago. And you know you can't. Does anybody have stuff in there that they can't handle when it comes up? They don't handle it, somebody triggers it? That's a question of evolution. A great being can handle the outside and the inside. And now they can interact with love. They can interact. What was Christ before he got arrested? Sitting up there, he's psychic. He saw everything. He saw the whole ordeal that was going to go through. That's a great moment of an evolved being, a highly evolved being. What did he say? May I pass this cup? He's praying to God, sitting there crying by himself, alone in the garden. And he says, may I pass this cup? The moment those words left his lips, he said, no, not my will, but thy will. I can handle it. And guess what? He handled every single moment of it. He never defended himself one iota. He never said a word. When he was given the opportunity to say, oh, I didn't really mean that, and we'll let it all go. No. He just handled what he knew was supposed to happen. Not a word, not a complaint. That's the evolved being. That's some serious stuff to go through. No, wow, that's a great being. All right? That's quite an example to set. I can handle my environment. All right? So evolution is the only way you can do that. You can't do it by being strong enough. It has nothing to do with strength. I'm a tough guy. I can handle what you said. Right? That means I can suppress it enough to where... Okay? It's not about strength. It's about emptiness. It's about the ability to not get distracted by things. I told you, I once asked Ramakrishna, a fully enlightened being, does an enlightened being ever feel anger? That's a fascinating question, isn't it? You know what he said? Yes. He said, but it's like riding on water. It comes in and passes right through. How much damage does riding on water do? Go ride anything you want on water. No karma. There won't be any problem with what you ride on water. So if something comes up and it's just anger, it's just whatever, it triggers something, it passes right through. Then it's not left inside of you. You don't have to store it. You don't have nothing. It's not part of your self-concept. Nothing. It's just, whew. That's how a great being is. It comes in, it passes through. Comes in, it passes through. There's a line in the Gita, I'm not quoting it directly, but Arjuna, who was Krishna's spiritual son, asked Krishna, he said, Krishna talked to him about Krishna's God, the Godhead. He said, you say there's these really great beings out there, enlightened, realized great beings. How would I know one when I meet one? That's a neat question. Okay? Sits he, walks he, talks to the end of the man? Or does he levitate? And Krishna says to him, no, Arjuna, he sits, he talks like any other man. You won't know him like that. If you would know him like this. When goodness comes he lets it come. When it departs, he lets it depart. When darkness comes, he lets it come. When it departs, he lets it depart. He sits like a sojourner, a stranger, in the midst of the changes of nature. He said, just like all the rivers and streams of the world pour into the ocean, and the ocean doesn't overstep its bounds, so the world of sense pours into the yogi and leaves him as it found him, at peace, serene, content, equanimity as yoga. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? That's evolution. The ability to handle the moments unfolding in front of you. And you know you can't do it. And so what you have to do is devote your life to manipulating the world so that you can handle it, not the natural moments. And you get into the question of, why are the moments unfolding in front of you? That's a whole talk I give, and I don't have time. What decides the moments that are unfolding in front of you? Every moment in front of you, at any moment, every single moment in front of you is the result of all the forces from the beginning of time that made it be the way it is. Cause and effect. Things happen. Somebody beeps their horn at you while you're parked at a light. Why did that have to happen? You don't want to know. They had a fight with their wife and the reason they had to fight is because the mother did this when they were young, because grandma did this, that was because great-grandma did it. All right? It's all the events that ever took place coming together into that moment to create the moment that happened. It's not because you were looking at your phone and you didn't go right away. That's such a minor part of it all. You could have had somebody behind you that wrote the app you were looking at. And they looked at, oh, he's using my app. Oh, stay there. Wow, look at that. They're so distracted by my app. It's so exciting. No, don't beep. Nobody beep. It is the result of all the causes that coalesce together to create that moment. Can you handle that moment? No. Why? Because you got all the junk inside of you that reacts. Otherwise, somebody beeps at you, okay, you go. And that's the end of it. Tell me, the people are so rude, they just beep at me for a moment. They tell everybody the next month. Am I talking to the right crowd? Now do you understand what evolution is? The ability to be at peace and handle the moments unfolding in front of you. Let's get a little more personal. You love somebody, such a beautiful relationship, you're so much in love. And then somebody had a bad day, they come home, and they don't say hello when they come home. They just go into their room, slam the door. How you doing? Not good. Not good. Bothered you, didn't it? Couldn't handle it, could you? See? You couldn't handle that he or she came home and had a bad day and went in there. What happens when they come out of the room? They got some price to pay. Don't you ever diss me like that, ever again. I don't care what your day was like. You pay respect for me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. In other words, you couldn't handle it. Otherwise, poor person has a tough day, they come out, and you say, come on, let's have a wonderful time. I'm sorry. You doing better? Come on. Which way you want to be? You have to evolve. Past the garbage. Past the ego. Past the self-concept. Past the preferences. Past all this stuff. That's spiritual growth. So Earth is a place where souls are sent to evolve. Earth is going to hit your stuff. If you stored stuff in there, it's going to get hit. Why? Because you're a walking target. You're married to a guy named Ben, and you get divorced, and it's a terrible divorce, ugly divorce. Do you realize now that wherever you walk, you need to make sure that it's not a place that you and Ben used to hang out? You better not go to a party where somebody calls out, Ben, Ben. You hear that name, you're in trouble. So it's not the world, it's you. You're a walking target of all this stuff that you stored in there. So everything's going to hit your stuff. It's not God knows just how to hit my stuff. No, you know how to put your stuff out there so everything hits it. So you stored all this stuff inside of you. Why you store everything that ever bothered you from the past inside of you so you can be bothered every moment of your life? I don't know. I just can't understand. All right? It's because you're not evolved enough to not do that. I'm not yelling at you personally, just as a species. Right? So what happens if you don't like it? It happened years ago. You store it inside. Now it's in there. And you're a target. It's going to bother you every time you think of it, every time you dream about it. Right? Well, maybe that wasn't a very smart thing to do, to store it in there. Maybe if something happens and it bothers you, the highest thing to do is say, whoa, I'm glad that's over. Not, I can't believe you said that to me 3 years ago. I never talk to you ever again. That's evolution. You evolve by handling moments. Doesn't mean they don't bother you. Doesn't mean they don't turn you on, whatever it is. But you're just sitting there saying, this moment unfolded. It's coming in. I'm experiencing it. And it's passing through. And now I'm going to deal with it from clarity. That's what it means to grow spiritually. That's what it means to grow as a species, and we're not doing very well, are we? Just read the papers, just look around. Come on, man. Holy mackerel. It's because nobody can handle anything. I can't handle this. I can't handle what happened. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to get into politics or this or anything, right? Doesn't mean you don't do something about it. I mean, you don't interact with it. But please interact with it from clarity. Interact with it to where you're sure that what you're interacting with is to raise the whole situation. Everybody. Not just the way you look at it. That's not how a master looks at things. How do you raise the whole? That's what Christ. Let you without sin throw the first stone. Judge not that you shall not be judged. All the teachings were exactly that. Stop all this personal stuff and learn to be open enough to have compassion for other people. That's what compassion is. Compassion is you're done enough with your stuff in that area. Don't worry, you're not done altogether. But you're done enough with your stuff in that area that you look at somebody who's not, and you realize they don't have to be suffering like that. How can I help? Not how can I make them be like me, make them agree with me so I can be okay. If you agree with me, I'm fine. If you disagree with me, get out of here. You will get to a point, if you evolve enough, to where it's not like that in there. No matter what happens outside, you understand it's just the sum of its learned experiences. I told you, psychology says man's the sum of the learned experiences. I'm telling you the moment in front of you is the sum of its learned experiences. Everything that ever happened made it be like that. And your learned experiences have nothing to do with its learned experiences. You grew up in Connecticut or Massachusetts and you had all this experience. That moment in front of you didn't do that. It's not going to match you. It's not supposed to match you. You're supposed to be able to handle it. And help. How can I help this moment? How can I raise the whole thing? That's a very clear being. It's very beautiful. That's the Dalai Lama. That's Buddha. That's Christ. All right? So I only have a few minutes left. How do you help evolve? If you don't help evolve, you're still going to evolve. You'll go through your stuff. You'll make a mess out of your life and everybody else's life. And eventually, God, it's hard not to give examples. I did prison work, you know that. I don't know anymore, but for 30 years, maximum security. And I talks like this. I sit down with the guys who come, and we talk. And one day, this really, really big guy, very big, like an NFL linebacker, came in, and he tried to sit down in a lotus position. He couldn't even sit on the floor. He's so muscular and big. And I'll never forget it. I can relive that day, all right? And we're sitting upstairs in the chapel, and he walks up to me after the talk, and he says, "Hi, my name's Creature," all right? He was head of the motorcycle gang. He told me that when he got put in there, his brother, from the gang, came to him and said, "Creature, don't resist. You don't understand. We've lived our entire life resisting and fighting. There's holes in this place so dark, you don't want to go there." He's getting satsang from his biker guy. Why? Because he had gone through enough to see you can't be like that in here. Therefore, he evolved. The story with creatures, I have it in the surrender experiment. I tell the story of him. He grew into the person that was running the meditation groups in his cell block. He grew to the person that I don't want to get into this, I can't get the whole story. But he was in for life, but it didn't matter. They found rival gang members' bodies from a long time ago, and he and some of the other gang members got charged, and they put him into one of those dark spaces, lockup. There were no windows, there was nothing. Oh my God. And all he did was meditate, okay? And he said to me once, he said, "I'm so glad that this happened because I know I have karma to work off. And this gave me an opportunity to do so. And it's going to use every moment for my growth." That's how much he evolved. That's what he did with his time. That's how you evolve. You evolve by handling the situations that are happening to you in life. You evolve by handling the situations that are happening to you in life. You start with the little ones. I can't handle the weather. I can't handle the driver in front of me. I can't handle what you said. I can't handle what I think you said. Just start really simple, and you just start relaxing through things. You start saying, I can handle this. Instead of I can't handle this, I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. Just say that over and over again. So the next time something happens and you're having trouble and you learn the mind have the habit to say, I can handle this. Oh boy, let's see you handle it. How do you handle it? Relax, let go, want to. I don't know what to tell you. You can help evolution by participating in it instead of fighting it. Right now you fight it. If something happens you don't like, you fight it. Not, oh boy, an opportunity to grow. An opportunity to handle things that I wasn't able to handle before. Opportunity to handle jealousy. Opportunity to handle fear. You can't handle the big ones. Don't try to handle the big ones. I understand. But you can get better by playing scales, by practicing tennis. You can get better by practicing evolution. So it's not about attracting to yourself what you want. That's basically saying, I don't want to evolve. I want to get what I want. Getting what you want is so overrated, it's ridiculous. The saint that gave us the Durga statue back in the late 70s, beautiful soul, very great soul. She sat up here, she talked quietly, and she just said, problems are the nectar of life. Okay? Your problems are your evolution. They are your guru. They are your teacher. They're teaching, they're challenging you. Are you willing to let go of the part of you that can't handle this? Doesn't mean you're a doormat and everything walks over you, but first you let go of the part that's having trouble handling it. You relax through it. You do a mantra. Man, I don't care what you do. I don't teach you that. It's your business. All right? But that you want to do it, that you're willing to embrace the fact that I can't handle this, but I want to be able to. And then you come back and you do the best you can to deal with it. So I started the conversation by saying Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. Are you evolving? Just do your best to participate in the process to the best of your ability, and you're going to find out you're capable of handling everything. You just got to work on it. Jai Gurudev.